Hey guys, Alex from 7th Hour Films back again with Merlin. Last time on Merlin, we had the Hollow Queen. We had another attempt by Gwen. Sorry, all I could think of was Morgana, but which is technically not untrue. But Gwen and Morgana had a new plan to try to kill Arthur, which was invite the guy that held Morgana captive for 2 years to Camelot, and then be like, yo, you should kill Arthur. And then he'd be like, alright. And then he would kill Arthur, and then Gwen would take the throne, I guess. And so the plan went into effect. They called over the guy. Gwen was like, yo, you should kill Arthur. He was like, alright. And then he tried. Merlin was able to fend them off, luckily. And just in the nick of time, because Morgana had poisoned him and left him for dead. Of course, she couldn't just kill him right there because whatever at this point. And he did prevent the assassination, and actually got the dickhead king killed, so that was pretty good. And yeah, that was pretty much that. Yeah. This is where I say no spoilers in the comments. This is also where I say that if you want to watch my reaction to this episode of Merlin, what you got to do is head down in the description or to the pinned comment, click on the link there. That will take you over to the reaction, and you can watch it. Hopefully have a good time. When you're done with that, you can pop right back over here to this video for the discussion. So let's go ahead and get right into episode 9 of season 5 of Merlin, which... This is it. We're in the home stretch now, guys. This is the final 5 episodes of Merlin. Oh, man. I'm going to be sad when this show is done, but let's go ahead and get into it and enjoy it. So, yeah. Here we go. Alrighty, that's episode 9. Now, that was a really good episode. Yeah, we've been talking the past couple episodes, like, oh yeah, they're good episodes, but not a ton of things, like, actually happen in these episodes. This one was a bit more. This one, there was a bit more that happened. So I like that. First off, just the fact that just immediately we start with Arthur finding out about Gwen. Thank you. Finally. You know, like, we've had... And honestly, it means that this arc is done, technically. And we're technically moving on into something different next time, which is weird because we only have 4 episodes left. But it's interesting that, like, yeah, we just sort of got right into it. Like, no learning about Morgana in the finale or learning about Agravain in the finale. Like, no, we're just in there now, you know? Like, immediately, beginning of the episode... Arthur finds out, and then they deal with it. Like, thank you. That was really, really cool. So, yeah. That was really good. Really, really good having that just be so immediate. So, that was the first thing I wrote down. The next thing I wrote down was the ritual. So, it was interesting, Gaius talking about the specific ritual, basically, that Morgana used on Gwen, which basically was a way to enslave a person's will to the high priestesses. And it's interesting, he also says, you know, it was only a select number of women that knew the actual ritual, and Gaius being a boy, he wasn't able to, you know, learn about this. He only, you know, knew about it through rumors. So, that was interesting. Of course, you know, he says, like, oh, well, I only know of it through rumors, but... Oh, well, no. No, okay, I was gonna say, like, oh, well, he knew, like, how to solve it, but he didn't. No, that was the, Oh, yay, there's a cast list this time. That was, the Dockerade. Dockerade. That's how you pronounce it, I'm sure. No, the... The Dockerade. We'll just have to call it that because I don't know. I don't know why I'm coughing so much right now. But yeah, that was pretty interesting. But yeah, just the ritual and, like, you know, Because it's always interesting anytime Gaius brings up stuff from the old religion, because, yeah, he was a part of the old religion, and he used to do some magic, not a ton, but he's, like, one of the few people that was, like, still accepted after the Purge, Like, he's basically one of the people that Uther still trusted after the Purge. Now, granted, he didn't do a ton of sorcery. He was still a physician, but he knew his way around a spell. That's why he can still do some spells today. But yeah, it's like, because he didn't do so much, that's why he was, honestly pardoned, I guess, by Uther during the Purge, was because Uther trusted him that much. But yeah, when he brings up stuff like that, it's like, yeah, this was something for the high priestesses, which I keep forgetting that technically Morgana is a priestess. She's the last of the high priestesses, basically, because, like, I don't know, like, they've never, I don't know why, like, I keep forgetting, because they keep saying it, they keep saying that she is a high priestess of the old religion, but I don't know. I don't know. Like, maybe it's because, like, we've never seen her do any training, Like, between Season 2 and Season 3 is sort of when she got all her training. And then, and it's basically just, like, all her training off-screen. And especially in the last two seasons, well, these last two seasons, Season 4 and Season 5, she's been the villain, the singular villain, so she's been, off-screen for the most part, so yeah, it's like, I just sort of, like, always forget. Anytime they're like, oh, well, she is, the last of the high priestesses of the old religions, like, oh yeah, I guess so, So yeah, that was pretty cool. Old Man Merlin going to the dock raid, as I'm going to call it, because I don't remember how it's pronounced. That was interesting, because, I like Gaia saying, like, okay, there's only two people that would know about this. One is Morgana Pendragon, and the other is the dock raid. Because I was even thinking, like, okay, well, couldn't you go to the dragon? Like, surely he would know some of this stuff, but maybe not, if this was something specific to the high priestesses, maybe he wouldn't know. Or even if he did, he wouldn't know everything. So I like going to the dock raid for that. And then, first off, Gaia says, like, okay, he says two things. One, don't tell her who you really are. She finds out anyway. And then two, you can't trust her. But nothing, like, she doesn't tell a lie, like, I don't know. Like, those two statements didn't really, like, come into play at all, I guess. So yeah, I don't know. That was just kind of interesting, but I do like, Merlin goes in there as Old Man Merlin, which is just fun. But this time he's going in and he's intimidating. Like, that was pretty crazy. Like, not only is Merlin intimidating, Old Man Merlin is intimidating. We've never had that. That's pretty crazy. So I did like that. And then it's like, oh, there's nothing you can do to harm me. And so he pulls out Excalibur, which I don't think this is what Excalibur is used for, But then again, it is used to destroy magic. Like if you're going to destroy something magical, this sword is how to do it, So that was just pretty crazy that he actually stole Excalibur and started using it on the dock raid. So yeah, that was pretty crazy. I did like that. And again, Old Man Merlin being intimidating. That's so, crazy and new. And then, she tries to kill him with a dagger, and so he turns around and slices through her. And, we don't know if she's dead or not. She did, get up and, write a note to Morgana, but still, like, that was so crazy. Which, I mean, Merlin is pretty hardcore. He has, since season 1, he's been blowing people up. But then, like, at the end of last season, when he straight up killed Agravain, He straight up killed Agravain, Or, hell, even before that, when he, injured Morgause, or season 2, end of season 2, when he poisoned Morgana and he was just going to let her die. You know, it's like there are a lot of instances where Merlin has been super hardcore in this show. It's pretty crazy. So yeah. We had the way to cure it, go to the cauldron, which that really wasn't a cauldron per se, that was like a pond, really. You know, or like a very, very tiny lake. Like, there really wasn't a cauldron. I thought it was going to be like, you know, obviously, like, okay, this cauldron needs to be big enough for Gwen, but I thought it would be an actual cauldron, you know? I don't know, but whatever. But that was pretty interesting, and, you know, saying it's like, okay, so we have to summon... Now, they didn't say summon the triple goddess. It was something like we have to summon the light goddess or something. There was some sort of, like... It was a bit of a different goddess, actually. Like, not the triple goddess that we've heard about from, like, the Desir. So, yeah. So that was interesting, but it's like, yeah, only the work of the goddess could cure Gwen. And the only way to do that, the only way to summon this goddess would be to use sorcery, you know? And Arthur saying, like, oh, well, I would have to use sorcery, I'd be breaking my own laws. And, you know, Gaia saying, like, well, you know, it's for the queen, you know, it's for your wife, you know, the woman you love. And you gotta remember that Uther has done this before, you know? It was magic that gave him a son, and also, you know, like when Morgana was sick, and he was like, look, I will do anything to save Morgana, even use magic. So that's the thing is that, even Uther did that, which, yeah, you can say, and you guys have said, that this does make the two of them very hypocritical. And you're right. And you're right. Yeah, honestly. It does. It's very hypocritical. But to Arthur's credit, I will say that, well, yes, it does sort of make him look hypocritical. You know, he outlaws sorcery and all this stuff. But he has started to lighten up on sorcery a bit. A bit. And this is a good way of showing how sorcery can be used for good, you know? Because he has said before, I'm trying to think, like, what are all the moments where sorcery has been bad? And I mean, like, really bad, not just, this sorcerer, he's kind of bad and stuff. Like, you know, because to him, yes, it was sorcery. It was sorcery that killed his father, you know? It was sorcery that killed his father. So you can sort of understand that, yeah, it would take a lot to sort of... It would take a lot to sort of bring Arthur out of that, you know, and have him start thinking, okay, maybe there could be a place for sorcery. And that's the thing, is that while I feel like we've had little hints, you know, and even over this season, we've had smaller hints building up to Arthur, like, legalizing sorcery. And now I think this is one where it's like, okay, this is a pretty definite, like, this is a big thing, that sorcery was good. Sorcery was used in a good way to save the woman that he loves. You know, like, if there is a way, like, okay, the big thing for Arthur is that sorcery killed his father. Well, for, you know, on the other side of that, sorcery saved his wife, you know? His wife, who's not, you know, an angry douchebag. So, you know, like that's the thing, is that it's, like, this could be, like, the big turning point for him. Now, yes, he obviously hasn't unoutlawed, legalized sorcery. I gotta quit saying unoutlawed. I just need to say legalized. So, legalize! Anyway. But yeah, like this is a big step. And while he hasn't legalized sorcery yet, I think this is a big turning point. And maybe we're building to that for the end of the season. Of course, this still makes me wonder, and with 4 episodes left, I think I'm starting to know the answer. is this what we're building up to for the end of this season? But they did think they were going to get another season. And the more I watch this season, the more I'm starting to think, yeah, I think this is... I don't think they planned on this being the final season. You know, I think it was just that they weren't renewed. And again, you guys haven't told me, which I'm thankful for. I want to find out on my own. It's going to be infuriating if it turns out that they were planning another season, but that's all right. You know, but I'm genuinely curious how this is all going to wrap up. You know, we have 4 episodes left. 4 episodes left. And while we have now dealt with the plot line with Gwen, Morgana really hasn't had a plot line this season. Like, she's just sort of been the antagonist, but she hasn't... There's no grand plan that she's had this season. And we are still waiting on the plot line with Mordred. You know, this is the first episode that Mordred's been an active, like, character, you know, since episodes 1 and 2. This is the first time Mordred's actually really done something, and this is episode 9. So it's really starting to feel like there was supposed to be another season. But again, we'll have to see, because there have been other times where, like, at the beginning of season 2, I think, was when... or towards the beginning of season 2 was when we had Merlin, he got the vision of, like, you know, the dragon attacking Camelot and everything, and then that was the finale. That was the season finale. So it's possible that the finale, which I know is going to be a 2-parter, it's possible that the finale is going to be the vision of Mordred potentially killing Arthur, you know? But at the same time, we also haven't gotten Morgana's vision, where she is pretty much lying dead on a battlefield, and, you know, Emrys is, you know, looking over her and just being like, you know, is this what you wanted? We still haven't gotten that. That was like season 4, you know? So, I don't know. It's, honestly, the suspense is killing me on if this will actually conclude in the finale, or if they were thinking they were going to get another season. I don't know. I don't know. We'll have to see. And again, nobody tell me. I don't want to know until the final episode. So, oh boy, this is going to be crazy. Where was I? Okay, the woman spell. Now, the woman spell still made him old, so what the hell is the difference? Like, I don't know. See, I was kind of thinking with the way they were sort of, you know, building up to this, like, I was honestly wondering, like, what if this is how Merlin is outed as a sorcerer to Arthur? Like, you know, somehow he finds out, and Merlin just has to do the thing, you know? He has to, you know, use the sorcery just as him. Instead, though, they end up going with old woman Merlin, which is crazy. Because at first I was thinking, like, how are they going to do this? Are they just going to, you know, are they going to, like, Joseph Joestar this, put Colin Morgan in a dress, give him some fake boobs and go? Like, what is happening? But they end up going with, okay, it is a woman spell, but it's also an aging spell as well, which is ridiculous. So yeah, he had to do an old woman spell in order to fool Arthur. That was pretty crazy. Excuse me. So yeah, that was very, very odd. You know, it was a funny, you know, yeah, I mean, it was funny, but it was very, very odd. So there's that. Mordred actually, he did something in this episode, finally. It's been 7 episodes since Mordred did something. So we should have had like a whiteboard that says episode since Mordred did something. Like, if I had known, I would have done that, you know? Like, we could finally reset it to 0. So I'm glad that he did something. He didn't do much, but he did something. He was here at least. I did like that. You know, I kind of wish Mordred was throughout the rest of the season, but that's okay. So yeah, saving Arthur and Merlin, which was good. And then I did like his confrontation with Morgana, you know. that, and I honestly, I'm starting to believe that Mordred does legitimately believe in Arthur. Like, I think he's actually truthful in what he says to Merlin, So it makes you wonder if, because of his knowledge of the prophecy, did I say knowledge? My bad. Because of his knowledge of the prophecy, will Merlin accidentally drive Mordred away? Like Mordred isn't actually against Arthur, but somehow Merlin accidentally drives him away, because he's so suspicious of him. It may be that. That'd be very interesting. Again, if this was basically, Merlin's fault that some of this stuff happens, Maybe. So yeah, but again, I do love his confrontation with Morgana and him being able to blast her. They really love that spell, don't they? Just the throw someone spell. Which, I mean, I guess if you had magic, wouldn't you be doing that? Be doing that all the time. Those were words. Yeah, I'd be doing that all the time if I had that spell. I'd just be throwing people, So I don't blame him, but yeah, it's interesting, It's very interesting that it's just the one they always go to. So yeah, With All My Heart, which was the name of this episode, actually. With All My Heart. Now, is it bad that I feel like it was a little rushed? It was good, don't get me wrong. Honestly, it was great, but it honestly wasn't that difficult for Arthur to convince Gwen, and I like what he says, with all my heart. That's what you said. You love me with all your heart, and I love you with all my heart, and that is what gets to her. I was kind of thinking, well, first off, I thought that would be a little bit longer. I was kind of thinking, maybe they'll be we'll see, images of, their relationship, but they didn't need to do that. Honestly, you could argue that, half of that, Arthur says, all the stuff, with all my heart, and honestly, it does just sort of stay on Gwen for, almost a solid minute. It's a good chunk of time, and you can almost see, everything, you can see the gears turning in her head, you can see her entire mindset shift over to then go into the cauldron. So again, it's on the one hand, I thought, wow, that was really fast. On the other hand, no, it is really, really great. And honestly, it's all, instead of, sort of, I don't want to say hammering it in, but instead of going a little too overboard, maybe, maybe instead of going too overboard and showing oh, here's all the stuff of, their relationship throughout the series, and here's this big speech that Arthur is giving. It's it's honestly, Arthur says, do you remember when I first married you, or, when I asked you to marry me, and I said I would love you with all my heart, and that is enough to get to her, and you just see it all sort of change on her. You see it all happening on her face, and then she goes into the water. Okay, yeah, actually, forget what I said. This was actually really great. Alright, I just needed to sort of work it out here. Sometimes that happens, Sometimes that happens where, I watch a thing and I'm okay, I don't think I really understand that, but then during the discussion I sort of work it out. It's no, I understand that now. It makes a lot of sense, and it really does work, so, yeah. And then the last thing I wrote down was without reward, which is interesting. Yeah, so old lady Merlin talking about, hey, you need to keep in mind that sorcery was used to save your wife, Sorcery was used to save your wife. You need to remember that. And Arthur does say, look, I've seen sorcery be used for evil, but this is finally, I feel like this line should have been said 8 seasons ago, but whatever. But I love when Merlin says, sorcery is not evil. The heart of man can be evil. Sorcery is not evil. Morgana is. Whereas there are good sorcerers, there are bad sorcerers. There are good men and there are bad men. It's the same thing. Don't blame sorcery don't blame sorcery for these troubles. You need to blame the people that abuse sorcery. So that was really good. And I also like Mordred being able to see through the disguise and knowing that that's Merlin, which is fairly obvious, you know? I did like that, and you know, him saying like, "Oh, don't worry, I'm not going to say anything." But it's incredible that you do all of this with no reward. And Merlin saying, you know, "I don't ask for reward," although he does, like, you know, because that is sort of the running thing. It's like, "Oh, I do all these things, and Arthur doesn't know." You know, he's just sort of talking at that point. But when you really get deep down to it, he doesn't want any reward. He just wants to make sure that the future is good and happy, you know? And I honestly think that Mordred wants that too. So, yeah. This was a really, really great episode. I really enjoyed it. And yeah, we're in the final stretch now. Next time we'll be moving on to the 4 remaining episodes. Yeah. So that is pretty much it. With all that being said, I'm Alex from 7th Hour Films, and I will see you guys next time. Take care. Alright guys, thanks for watching this video. If you want to watch more of my Merlin reactions, you can click on the playlist, you can subscribe if you haven't done that already, and be sure you hit that notification bell. You can support me on Patreon and follow me on social media, links below in the description. See you guys later.